guys, so it looks like WorkFlows won, which is actually great because it's pretty easy and it's the quickest thing I can show you, so this won't take long. So this is the board and this is client specific. So I've deleted the last part of the client's names, but this is what the workflow looks like for this specific client. So for this client has just come on board. So we actually need to check this. So this is the intake workflow. So these are all the things that I do to get a client onboarded. So once everything is done, I check it off here. I also click done over here on this section. We have performed a conflict check. So everything that I need to do to onboard is over here, and obviously this is customizable. So this obviously has the fee agreement, the conflict checked. I'm creating the new matter in the other section of Monday.com, creating my Ignite file, which is again my internal server that houses all of my files, creating a binder, opening email to the client, setting them up on the internal portal. I actually use Clinked now. And then again, these are for the petitions that we have to draft: summons, standing order, complaint, leave of absence, drafting discovery, sending client the financial affidavit, sending them the Fulton mandatory discovery if applicable. This is not a Fulton County case, so I'm just going to delete that row here and then send the client welcome email. So this is the person that it's assigned to. This is me. And the cool thing about Monday is when you put your profile in, you can put any picture at all that you want to. I choose Ariel because I don't know if you guys have heard Ariel's black now. So, but you can use a regular picture, you can use a cartoon, you can use, whatever you like. So I think that's kind of cool. Go back to where I was. Okay, so again, the person that's assigned to, the person who's assigning it, check mark, you can put the case in here. I did have the case name in here, but obviously I've deleted that for the purpose of this video. If you need it done by a specific date, you can add the date in here. And again, because I have this sync to Google Calendar, it'll automatically sync and place it on my Google Calendar. If there's a link, for example, if my paralegal needs me to review something, she can just put a link in here. I can click on it and review it. It makes it a lot easier. And then over here is notes. So this is the onboarding for new clients, and I'll show you what all my templates look like. So what happens is I have a template section, and I essentially duplicate each section, and then I copy it over to the client-specific workflows. So this page is actually very long. There's a lot of different workflows related to a lot of different clients in different stages of the case, but I just wanted to show you what this particular page looks like, and then on the next slide, I'll go into what it looks like on just the actual template section. Here are my workflows for discovery. It's very easy. I have this separated into two sections: discovery sent to the other side and discovery received from the other side. So with the discovery sent to the other side, these are the steps. I filed the Rule 5.2, which that's a Georgia term that just means that is a certificate that we filed with the clerk of the court saying that we have served discovery on the other side. Discovery back to us, the due date of when those discovery responses are due back to us. After that's done, I usually have Krista review to make sure the documents are in compliance with what we asked, if a good faith letter is needed. I'm not sure if that's a universal term. Good faith letter is just a letter to the other side where we're trying to, in good faith, resolve a discovery dispute. So if they send me documents and we're missing some, then we draft a letter saying, hey, we got X, Y, and Z, but we're missing A, B, and C. So that's what the good faith letter is. And if the other side requests an extension, we document that. If the extension is granted, we document that. So in the date column, we can actually put the due dates in here. When is discovery due back to us? If there's an extension requested and the extension is granted, when is that new due date? And it'll sync with my calendar, so it's very easy for me to see. With the discovery received from the other side, we convert it to Word, we upload it to our portal, we email it to our client with instructions. We give them a due date of the time the documents have to be back to us. We give them a due date of when the documents have to be to opposing counsel, and we usually space that about a week apart. Krista will usually go in and organize the documents and then review the documents to make sure the client has given us everything that we need. And this last section is I send my discovery to opposing counsels via Dropbox. And these are the different statuses that apply. And it's pretty simple. We're working on it. We're stuck. We're done. I'm waiting for Krista, or we haven't started, or it's on hold for some reason. So these are completely customizable. You can make these statuses whatever you want. You can put the names of your employees or just different statuses in here. So it's easy to see at a glance what has been done. The other great thing about this section is you can actually export it to Excel. So once I hit this button, it'll open up an Excel worksheet, and I just save it to the client file. And the reason I do that is when the discovery period is over, or when the case itself is over, there's no reason for me to have all these different discovery boards clogging up my Monday.com profile. So at that point, I would archive it. So if I'm completely done with it, I would just go down here and hit archive. But before I do that, I export it to Excel so that I have the same worksheet in an Excel worksheet in case I need it in the future. You also can duplicate groups. You can move groups different places. You can change the color of the groups. There's a lot of things that you can do. So that's it for by Discovery Workflows. Here are my template workflows for intake of clients. These are the most common. One as taking a new case as the plaintiff, one is taking a new case as defendant. I actually have more templates for if I'm taking a case midstream. That's also a completely different template. I can only fit 2 on this screen, so those are 2 we're going to focus on. So these are all the steps that I do when I'm onboarding a new client as a plaintiff. These are the steps, and it's cut off a little bit, so there's a couple things missing on the bottom, but these are all the steps that I do when I'm onboarding a new case as the defendant. So obviously this is fully customizable. You may have a slightly different process, but some of these are going to be the same, so feel free to steal this. So in terms of the statuses, these are the statuses that I have picked. You can add or edit any of these labels. You can have up to, it looks like about 15 different statuses. So this is just a template. So this is always going to look like this. Once I copy it and put it over to the client board and actually start filling it out with this specific client, then all of these things are just going to change to different colors based on where I am at the time. So that's it for intake. It's just a really good way at a glance to make sure that you've done everything that you need to do in the beginning of a case to onboard everything. And this is something that anybody in the firm can look at. So there's not a lot of communication going back and forth. I'm looking at the board, my staff is looking at the board. If something needs to get done, they just do it. So there's no, hey, have you done this? Have you done this? Where's the status of this? Or has this been done? This board tells everybody what's been done and what needs to be done. So I'm going to show you my trial prep workflow. And just so you know, I've got tons of workflows on here, and it does not make sense for me to go through every single one of them step by step, but I'll just show you what I have. For example, here's trial prep without children. Here's mediation prep with children. Here's mediation prep without children. There's just a lot of different things that you can do. So usually what you can do is just start with one workflow, copy it, and then delete as needed. The trial prep with children is going to be have the most tasks, so I'll just go over that. So these are all the tasks that I need to make sure are done leading up to trial. So if I've got a trial coming up in a couple of weeks, I will copy this over to the client board, put the client's name on it, and we'll just start banging out these tasks. Some of them are going to have been done already, but it's nice to just have a chart just to make sure that everything has been done. So have we gotten a DRFA is a financial affidavit in Georgia. It's required in every case where somebody's asking for money. So that's what that stands for. So have we gotten the affidavit? Have we gotten financials? If we've gotten it, then we just click it to done. Financial affidavit, sending to the opposing counsel. Once that's done, we click to done. And I always draft all proposed orders before going to trial. And when I say I mean Krista drafts and I review. So she'll draft the final order, proposed parenting plan, a child support worksheet, child support addendum. Once that's done, she will click over in the done section to let we know it's done. We set a meeting with the client to prepare if there is an asset and debt analysis that has to be done. That's also a task that needs to be done. Usually that's something that's been done already, because by the time we get to trial, we've already been to mediation and failed, and the asset and debt analysis would have been performed at that time. So as long as nothing's changed, it's usually going to have been done already. Then I review the final order. I review the worksheets and the addendum. I review the final order. I number my exhibits in Ignite. I will show in a different video the paperless trial prep of how I do that. Then I send the exhibits to opposing counsel via Dropbox ahead of time, because I don't like to waste paper. And then I add exhibits to the Monday exhibit list. So once each task is done, I just go through and click on the status here of what it's done. So that is my checklist for trial. The last workflow I'm going to show is the uncontested divorce workflow. I do a fair amount of uncontested divorces. I charge probably more than industry standard, just because I've been doing it so long and I just kind of command a higher rate. But so I'm charging anywhere between, I don't know, $2,500 to maybe $5,000, $7,500 for an uncontested divorce, depending on the level of assets. So the point of me mentioning that is there's a big return, or there can be a big return on uncontested cases if you have systems in place to make it seamless. So this is what I use the workflow for. So these are all the things that I have to do in an uncontested divorce with children. These are all the things that I have to do in an uncontested divorce without children. So my paralegal drafts all of these documents, I review them, and they go out all at once. Another good thing Monday is good for is batching. So a lot of times I'll take 2 or 3 uncontested divorces at the same time, and she can just work on all of them at the exact same time and just kind of sort of get it all done. And once you do it that way, it makes it a lot easier, because when you have cases that are filed the same day, cases that are being emailed out the same day, you're not dealing with a bunch of different deadlines going back and forth. It's all kind of falling into the same pattern. So this makes it a lot easier to do. So if I'm taking on 4 or 5 uncontested divorces at one time, there's going to be one section work, and I can see all of the board at once, and she'll do everything at once. Once everything is drafted and I've reviewed, I'll say send everything out and get it all signed. So that way everything is sent out at the same time, and all comes back at the same time. We can file it at the same time. So when you're looking to increase your profit margin, if you're considering flat fees, then batching is really helpful for that, because she's not switching tasks. She's just kind of in the zone doing one thing multiple times, which is a lot easier than completely switching gears. So this is just the workflow. It's fairly self-explanatory. These are all the things that I need to accomplish in order to get an uncontested divorce. These acronyms may not mean anything to you. They don't necessarily have to. You're going to have your own acronyms. This is a settlement agreement. This is a leave of absence. This is the parenting plan. So whatever it is that you need to do in order to finalize an uncontested divorce with children or without children, you just need to go through each thing step by step, document it in a list like this, and that way you can easily click when it's done and you can see that nothing's missing. Because it's very easy to miss one thing in an uncontested divorce, and when you're charging flat fees like I am, it's just not cost effective to have to go back and spend more time, energy fixing that one thing instead of doing it right to begin with. So here's the workflow for my uncontested divorce. It's fairly simple, works the same way as anything else. You can change the person it's assigned to, who's assigning it. You can add a check mark if you want to, the statuses, and that's it. So all the workflows work the exact same way, which is you have a list of what needs to be done, you have who it's assigned to, and then you have the status. That's all any checklist or workflow should ever do. If you're using Excel, if you're using Asana, Trello, whatever system that you're using to do it, this is what a checklist list should look like. I just prefer Monday because it just makes it easier to look at everything in one location, and you can export to Excel and then archive it so it doesn't clutter everything up. So that's it for workflows. Thanks.